no matter which you'd be more mad at, tweet those at hashtag Cup of Fate, and we will respond to them between rounds. For now, Golden Saucer Guy. Once again, the higher seed should choose to play, whether they choose to play first or second here. In this case, Golden Saucer Guy, I believe, is the higher seed as 9th, and Sadolution is the lower seed as 16th.
This is an interesting starting hand.
It is an interesting starting hand.
And that's also an interesting card, that third from the left.
That is not one you see very often, but it does seem quite good.
It is. This is on a 2 or 3 minute delay, I believe. Do we? I mean, this looks pretty close. Do we have a card blocker up?
He's got it.
Okay, no, don't worry about it. I think he's on a delay. Do you want card blocker? I will ask him. All right. GSG doesn't seem to usually care about it. Sadolution, of course, playing his diamond. Turn 1, that will make all Angels of Dawn off the top enter play for free. We have stated that multiple times through the tournament, but it is important to remember.
Golden Saucer Guy doesn't seem to have a preference. Anyway, turn 2, Cerulean Mirror Knight from what seems to be a Ruby Sapphire Gorfy style deck, but there's an interesting card there where I want to see how it works. We saw Sadolution's choice of Rutherford Banks actually definitely matter in that last game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even a straight up mono Sapphire. So either way, something interesting is going to come out of this.
Find another shard, which is important here to get that that ball rolling. Really, it looks like GSG is going to choose to put down that tunneled troop. And will he choose to swing with Cerulean Mirror Knight, or will he does play around Repel? He does not want to lose his very valuable card draw troop to whatever nonsense could just be straight up a Repel. Although now at 3 resources, Sadolution could play a Buccaneer should he choose. Although interestingly, and of note, that is a second diamond and not a second sapphire, so counter magic is not an available option here. Golden Saucer Guy will likely get to put down whatever he wants this side of the board.
Does he want the double Mirror Knight? Does he want a Falconer?
I think that is actually the first time. No, that's not the first time during the tournament. Of course, we had the Mega Hulks before. I was going to say, I think that's the first. You never got tunneled.
Oh, yeah, go Hawk.
Yeah, they always played it. So double Cerulean Mirror Knight entering the board. Poke a charge power coming down. 3 damage to the face. Now,
and more importantly, 3 cards in the hand. And now he doesn't care about the other Mirror Knight.
It is 3 cards that he'll draw. Assuming that he does lose 1 Cerulean Mirror Knight here. Might have been worth holding the Mirror Knight back, but we'll see if it actually matters. It is kind of mildly sometimes notable, it's not in this case, that Blaze Elemental does sacrifice itself after your main 2, so you do not get a chance to use those cards or even see them before you have chosen to end your turn. Of course, that does not matter here, as GSG had already played a resource and already played out all of his cards. Sadolution, no tunneled troop, 3 resources open, nothing on the board, staring down a measly 2 Cerulean Mirror Knights, plays a 3rd Diamond Threshold. Perhaps he's building up to laying out the king of, or the queen of Diamond Dragons. Instead, uses Solitary Exile, will put the further right Cerulean Mirror Knight into the box, the one that would draw 2 cards when it went to the graveyard as opposed to 1. So...
But that burst of cards might just be what Golden Saucer needed. You might not need more than that. As we see from that top deck, we're getting close here.
Yeah, here comes the Royal Falconer. Yeah, here comes the Royal Falconer. I was like, maybe I said that too quickly. That will mean 3 troops inspired by Cerulean Mirror Knight. That means 3 troops that, should they somehow get destroyed, will go to the graveyard, draw another card. All powerful. No response from Sadolution, of course, who's just waiting for this to hit. Might have some sort of response there, I guess. I don't think there's anything that would have really mattered.
He almost could send that Mirror Knight in with only 1 resource open, but opts not to.
No swing, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if there was anything that could have punished him for swinging there. Angel of Dawn off the top. Sadolution, had he not had a play last turn, maybe didn't want that Angel. It's always that weird and tricky spot where you're not sure if Angel's actually the card you want. 5 resources in hand. Sadolution chooses not to do anything with it. The tunneled surprise troop, the mesmeric hypnoscientist, pops out of the board. That is a 5/2, which will now have speed, and when it enters play, target troop cannot block for the turn. Angel of Dawn no longer able to get in front of this damage. Will we see a victory push from GoldenSaucerGuy? Granted, there are 5
even if
resources open on
Sadolution
Saddle.
had a verdict, we have to expect something like that. He hasn't been able to play counter magic. Even if so, he's taking a lot of damage this turn. 12. But it looks like that is not the case. Gore Feast is good enough to end game 1.
That takes down game 1, like Hacky said. So here we are. Let's just quickly think about this for a second. I told you the difference between 9th and 16th place. The winners of these rounds, not only do they have the $100 6 set 2 packs and 2 set 1 packs, that's more than enough for a couple of drafts. The 3rd to 4th place players get double that many packs, actually triple that many set 1 packs, twice as many set 2 packs, and instead of $100, they get $250. That's a little bit of a jump in prize pool. $150 buys you a couple of Hex packs if you want. It can actually buy you nice things. Once again, like to do a shout out to Hex Colin. You are an amazing sponsor. I would actually high five you probably every 10 minutes right now if I could.
Kurt, at Chalkma on Twitter with at 5 shards. Gore Feast for the win. Hashtag Cup of Fate.
There we go. That's the only one too, I think. So Gore Feast is
Gore Feast wins.
Yeah. People want Cup of Fate to win. Not Cup of Fate. They want Gore Feast to win because that's the only one that I saw tweeted.
I want Cup of Fate to win.
Although Cyrus was tweeting about hashtag Cup of Fate. We got a tweet 2 hours ago from the Angry Duckling. Did not advance out of his pod. Which are you happy? Which are you happier with, Tech? Do you prefer Gore Feast or Reese?
Tectonic Mega Hulk?
Nice. All right, so Technofeast siding for the third party. I'm personally waiting for the set 3 card, Gore Reese.
Gore East.
Reese Feast.
Oh, the Reese Feast. Create 10 Reese. They all have their surfaced ability. 2 cost. So, Sadolution challenges. We see the game is about to get underway. Of course, with Sadolution being defeated in that first game, GoldenSaucerGuy will likely be on the draw this game, meaning his Ruby Sapphire deck will just be a little bit further behind. Now, that's kind of relevant for this matchup because that means the counters will be available before the 3 drops on GoldenSaucerGuy's side of the board. Good luck, have fun to both opponents. We see an acceptable opening hand, I would say, for GoldenSaucerGuy.
I like this deck. That's another interesting card.
No, that's a pretty staple one.
Not always. It's the first I've seen today. Is this the first we've seen today?
Today. It's the first one we've seen today, yeah. I probably one of the strongest cards in the entire game. GoldenSaucerGuy covering up his deck numbers. He doesn't want us to know how many cards are in his deck by putting his face in front of the way. We see the mulligan from Sadolution, who then snap keeps, which is good for him. We want as close a games as possible because they're more exciting, and I'm cheering for both players because my Canadian nature makes it impossible for me to pick sides. There's that diamond, like we've seen before. Always there to make sure that an Angel of Dawn off the top will matter for the diamond player. On the other side of the board, GoldenSaucerGuy leads with just the plain ruby. Now, he could have gone with either type of shard there. If we're thinking about this mechanically, he represents burn with the ruby. He does not represent anything with the sapphire. Mechanically, it changed nothing about his deck, I'm sure, but it does matter for the mind game. Lays down a sapphire on turn 2, chooses to play out Cerulean Mirror Knight.
And that opens up Stormcloud into Shard, into Sacrifice, or Buccaneer, whichever one is more necessary.
huge shout outs to the 275 viewers we have right now. Thank you for coming along for the top 16.
But Sadolution passes his turn too without a resource.
No resource after that mull to 6. It's always going to be the case that if you get a 2-shard hand after a mull to 6, that you're going to want to keep, and almost always you should draw the 3rd shard, like statistically. Didn't really help him here.
Now, interestingly, there was an option this turn with no play to play the Shard of Innovation, but he chooses to play a Sapphire instead, keep that one open, still representing burn.
Yeah, the burn representation here, I suppose relevant. GoldenSaucerGuy might have a reason for it. Does need that Shard of Innovation to come out as a Ruby at some point, likely. This Buccaneer comes down, the 3rd shard found by Sadolution. That'll bounce the Cerulean Mirror Knight and mildly punishes GoldenSaucerGuy for not playing Stormcloud, popping it, and getting a Stormling here. That Stormcloud is still inspired by the Cerulean Mirror Knight, though, so it's not too big of a deal. We'll see off the top another Stormcloud probably coming down from GoldenSaucerGuy, especially now that the Mirror Knight's gone. He will play a Shard and tunnel his.
All right, now we get a full cast. We get to see all of that.
Subterranean Spy underground. We can see Sadolution's hand is actually kind of bonkers. A counter magic, 2 Buccaneers, a repel, and a solitary exile. It's interesting to some extent because now GoldenSaucerGuy knows that what he can and cannot do in this situation. He has to consider what is the solitary exile likely to be used on, what is the Buccaneer likely to be used on. And now, while we have full discretion over the cards in both players' hands, it's worth noting that Sadolution doesn't know that Subterranean Spy is the Tunnel Troop, likely believes that that is either Fishersmith or the Mesmeric Hypnoscientist. So that will change the way he plays. It doesn't even think twice about Fishersmith. No, swings in with that Buccaneer, which will come through. GoldenSaucerGuy will take 2 damage. Solitary Exile played out, likely targeting the first Stormcloud.
The only one that he can target without it being sacrificed in response.
Yeah. And GoldenSaucerGuy not using Biddy Bolt to destroy the Buccaneer.
He could still do it on his turn after attacking, so he may opt for that.
Yeah, exactly.
But with that draw, he may not.
JJ, what is your thought when you see your opponent's hand like that?
I think when I see this, I see that he's got no clock at all. He's all answers, and I'm going to try to get in the damage that I can now, and especially going to go. I'm going to run out the Mirror Knights here. Is what I would do. I would want to get the card draw going and try to dig past the spot removal single answers, or I'd want to get aggressive. But he doesn't really have a super aggressive hand here, so I would probably jam Mirror Knights.
In order to play the Mirror Knight, he does need to play the Sapphire, so he hasn't played a resource now, trying to decide what he... But he doesn't need the second Ruby yet.
No, but he does want it in the future. You don't want to be playing the Shard of Innovation for a Ruby on a time where it's not going to get you that additional resource.
I mean, if you get it to the... If you put both of them out there this turn, yeah, he can Buccaneer one of your Mirror Knights next turn, but he doesn't have the resources to counter magic it too.
I think he's opting to do Fishersmith Tunnel and Mirror Knight. So the Fishersmith coming up will get inspired, and actually also Polka.
We'll use the charge power here.
That's an interesting choice, given that he could have double Mirror Knighted and gotten an extra card. Perhaps he doesn't need that. He has a Splashy out. He still has Biddy Bolt. He's got...
Yeah, it's interesting.
He's got knowledge. What is the cost of knowledge? How valuable is knowledge?
It's a free. Shard of Knowledge is free to play.
I mean, knowledge of your opponent's hand via Subterranean Spy.
Oh, 2. That costs 2 to tunnel with the Sapphire Threshold. So another repel coming out. At this point, you likely bring out your scratch pad and write down the cards, because at the beginning of GoldenSaucerGuy's turn, those will disappear. Wow, the information will disappear, and the cards themselves won't disappear.
It's just Fishersmith. Hello.
That Fisher Smith pops up, gets a free, like, it just destroys a Buccaneer for free. Sadolution, of course, couldn't have known it was a Fisher Smith, but does have access to the deck list and could have played around it, I suppose. Again, still likely to play aggressive here. He needs to try to cut some health off of GoldenSaucerGuy. Well, he does have a lot of control in his hand. GoldenSaucerGuy has more cards, more potential for drawing extra cards, and has more aggressive troops on the board as of this moment. With one resource open, Sadolution knows that there is nothing that not Sadolution knows. GoldenSaucerGuy knows that the Sadolution doesn't really have a play and is actually willing to Buccaneer a Buccaneer because the replaying of that Buccaneer will cost Sadolution all of the resources in his hand, nullifying the value of those cards that are in his hand.
I mean, I don't mind doing the Buccaneer there, but I don't understand why you wouldn't Mirror Knight first there.
You might want to still represent that burn.
Whoa.
Represent counter magic, I guess.
Counter magic too.
On 8 health, Sadolution is in a very difficult spot here.
I mean, I understand here. There's some spots where it makes sense to bluff counter magic, and I guess it's working out here. But it just doesn't feel like Sadolution should have even taken the risk there. Like if you're far enough behind, there's a certain point where you can't just keep getting hit in the face. You have to play something anyway. Just hope they don't have it.
I think at this point it wasn't even the bluff. I think he's just holding up double repel here.
No, I mean the bluff from GoldenSaucerGuy.
Oh yeah, sorry. I actually mentally knew that you did that, and then I just like threw that information away, and I was like, I'm gonna make a fool of myself.
Yeah, I have to do double repel here because this is fatal damage. Like the targeting.
Yeah.
Buccaneers.
GoldenSaucerGuy knows he'll lose his Buccaneer and his Subterranean Spy here, but he doesn't even care. He knows. Wait.
There it is.
Oh, okay. I was like, are you not playing the second repel? He does destroy that Subterranean Spy there. He knows that even with those 2 repels out of hand, there's so little Sadolution can do here aside from play cards that don't exist in his hand. He might have pulled a Grolk on one of those on the last turn, and maybe pulls the Sapphire Shard here. That might save the day for a moment. There's the Sapphire Shard. Is it a Grolk? Show me the Grolk.
Just simply a mastery of time to buy a turn to get an extra card.
Oh, it's not bad. It's a mastery of time. It's a really good card.
Also of note, one more charge gets GoldenSaucerGuy his second Poké charge power.
Yeah, it's a rough spot for Sadolution.
He's a Buccaneer, but his targets aren't super super attractive.
Well, he might not have super attractive targets, but he does turn this back into a 2-turn clock. As opposed to dying next turn, which
Not with the charge power.
when you're playing for 100, well, not with the charge power, but he has to try.
Yeah, he doesn't know that going into it.
Cerulean Mirror Knight played first, then the charge power. Even if Sadolution had Immortality here, let's say, which we know he doesn't, it's not in his deck list. It's not looking like a turnaroundable game. And this will knock Sadolution firmly into that 4th to 8th spot kind of thing. It'll turn him into the 5th to 8th spot, guaranteed. Whereas GoldenSaucerGuy, who was the 1-point fantasy point pick, the 64th seed, walking into the tournament, the statistical outlier,
Not quite yet, though.
the worst of the best, might move on. The Blaze Elemental.
These two Stormlings have been so much value.
Let's see. I mean, sometimes that's all the Stormlings need to do is be X1s. So now, bar a Soro. So counter magic and one more card in hand. I think we even know what that one more card is, don't we? We see GoldenSaucerGuy try to dig for the burn just to finish it now.
Even then, since Blaze Elemental was bounced, it doesn't go away at the end of the turn. Can even get inspired again.
Buccaneer one more time. Just, no. Get it all out of my face. I don't want to deal with it. Please, no. It's that counter magic now. That counter magic is the last card in the hand. And while they are super, super powerful, I'm not sure if they can be played for 2 resources and change games.
He's going to replay the Royal Falconer, which is still the master of those 2 falcons. He brings more friends, so they are to attack once again, and there really isn't a card that'll save Sadolution here.
Thank you, Technophy, for making the sweet overlay that's on the stream right now. It looks really good. I just got to see it for the first time. I mean, I saw it before when you posted the image.
Saw it live for the first time.
Yeah. I hadn't actually looked at our stream yet.
So just to be clear, I got it done. I did not do it.
Oh, okay. Well,
You got it done.
still, it looks cool. With this swing, Sadolution does give up the last of his health. Victory for GoldenSaucerGuy. A 2-0 over Sapphire Diamond, one of the strongest and expected winning decks of the tournament.